What's up, Dragon Brood? We are back with more pre-release decks, I guess we'll call them that, for new standard, including Innistrad Midnight Hunt. And today we're going to be playing some, well, not really playing, just talking about some Abzan Cleric Lifegain deck. That's a lot of words in one deck, but just turns out most of the creatures we want to play are clerics. Really, it's an Abzan Lifegain deck. Blah, 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 blah. But you know what? Enough talking. Let's go look at the deck list. Alright, so the best part about this deck is we're actually getting to utilize several of the new cards, which is pretty sweet. A lot of times we end up just kind of playing one or two new cards to fill out the list, but here we're actually going to get to play quite a few. So starting right at the top here, we've got the Lunarch Veteran. It's a 1 mana, 1/1. It has Disturbed on the backside. You get a 2/1. You get a 1/1 flyer, actually. But the best part about this is when you have a creature come into play, you gain 1 life. And this basically replaces the other one from the 2/2 from the arena only set. And this is also a 1-drop, which is a thing that we didn't really have many of before. So being able to play a quality creature on turn 1 is really nice here because it sets up a lot of things on the future turns. We do have 3 Valentin and Lisette. Valentin, if you do play it on 1, does let you attack and gain life with Menace, so it's kind of nice if you have a turn 2 creature that actually can benefit from the life gain. If not, you can just sit on it and then play it later, so you actually get the big bonus of giving everything +1/+1 counters and trample. Now, we are playing Cleric of Lifespawn, a full set of 4, and this is what we're talking about with the Lunarch Veteran, is that if you play that on 1 and this on 2, you gain the life, you get a +1/+1 counter, so you're starting out with the 3/3, which is really nice, and then it just goes up from there. We are playing 2 Hallowed Priests. This is from the Arena Only set, so if you do choose to play Best of 3, my recommendation here would probably be to replace this with 1 additional, probably Valentin and Lisette, and maybe 1 additional Aura. You know, it's probably what I would do there if you want to play this in Best of 3. But if you're playing Best of 1, this should still be fine. We're playing 2 Hunt for Specimens. This isn't totally necessary in the deck, honestly, but I do like having that versatility of being able to go find like a Containment Breach to remove something critical, because there's going to be lots of enchantments and artifacts being played. At least I think so. You know, maybe if you index removal with the Necrotic Fumes, if it's late game and you just need creatures with the Mascot Exhibition, it does give us a few options here, and the token does actually gain life for us, so it's not like it's the worst thing to have in the deck. Then we do have 4 Prosperous Innkeepers. Obvious reasons. Creatures come into play, you gain life. You also get Treasure that could let you play 2 things on the following turn if you really want to. We're trying out a couple of copies of Rite of Oblivion. This is a black and a white for a sorcery. In addition to casting it, you have to sacrifice a non-land permanent. Then you exile target non-land permanent. So the other cool part is it does have flashback. So keep that in mind. But the toughest part about this is going to be deciding what you want to get rid of. However, when you do have something like Hunt for Specimens, that does give you a couple of lesser things you can get rid of. And it does ask you to sacrifice, not exile, which is pretty nice. So it's not that big of a deal. Some of the stuff goes to the graveyard. You do have a chance of getting some of them back. So that's something else you can kind of plan into your strategies there. Playing a full set of Trellisera Moondancer, and I actually had 3 in here initially, and I toyed back and forth, and I believe I did 2, maybe 3 different lists last season that played this or some concept with it, and sometimes I played 3, sometimes I played 4, mostly because it's legendary. So if you do need to cut a spot to put another card in, this is probably where I would cut from. It's a really good card. The Scry ability is great, but it is legendary, you know, so it's not nothing. I mean, there is a cost there to that, but it is really good, and getting it as early as possible is also really nice with the number of ways we have to gain life now. Playing 1 Vanishing Verse, just trying out for some flexibility because we don't have to sacrifice anything to kill stuff. Playing a full set of Elite Spellbinder, which honestly, Elite Spellbinder is just super good. Super good. I don't really think we can get away from that. It's one of those things, especially in this type of deck where your opponent might have a sweeper on turn 4, turn 5. Like, this is a way to make sure that doesn't happen. It can block a planeswalker. You know, you can even strategize around it, right? Sometimes early you get rid of a card that you know can still be played on turn 5 or turn 6, but you're able to strategize around that because you know what's there, and you get the information of knowing what else is in the opponent's hand. That is really critical, especially in a deck like this where you're trying to decide what order to play everything in, because your sequence is going to be very important, and it also lets you know how hard you can push forward and how much you have to hold back, knowing that your opponent can or can't deal with certain things. We are playing a full set of Righteous Valkyrie, and this fits in here just the same in the sense that you have so many things gaining life that it's very possible you're going to get the Righteous Valkyrie bonus. And once you hit that, and you have creatures that have already grown, it's going to be really hard for you to lose creature combats. This is definitely what you're looking to get, especially in multiples. Really, really good. Currently, we're playing 1 Aura, Skyclave Hierophant, 4 mana, 3/3 lifelink. When you have a cleric go to the graveyard, you get to get one that's up to 1 cost less out of the graveyard. So, not bad, not bad. I would like to have more of this in here, but right now we're experimenting with different cards. If something doesn't pan out, I will probably replace that and play a second one. I might even play a third Aura, to be honest. But we have a couple other tricks in our bag here we're still messing around with a little bit before we determine how badly we need that. There is one Cigar to Splendor, and this is one of the cards. I might even have this on my top 13 sleepers, maybe, but if not, I probably should have, because this card's kind of neat. And this is, if there's a deck that's going to be able to take advantage of it, it's probably this one. But basically, the long and short of this card is, if you gain life, during your upkeep, if you have more life than you had the last upkeep, you get to draw a card. So, seems good. But I also wonder if it's possible that sometimes we're just going to kill our opponent, and there's not going to be a lot that we get from it. You know what I mean? Because I feel like if we're gaining a bunch of life, we might already just be in such an advantageous position that it doesn't really matter if we get the card or not. But who knows? I'm willing to try it. Could also be a weird, stalemate-y situation where you still get to gain some life, get to draw a card. Maybe there's some weird late game situations where, you have this out, you play a creature, you gain a life, you at least get a bonus card during your next upkeep. So, I don't know. It may end up getting cut. And like I said, this could very well be the extra Aura slot, but I'm going to go with it for now and see if it works out. Now, another good card we have in the list, and this is actually not a cleric, and this is a Guardian Savior. This is 3 colorless, white for a 3/3 flying creature. When it enters the battlefield, you can return 2 creatures that cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is also very good. Like, even later, if you're just hoping to gain some life to square things up, or maybe get your bonus to the Valkyrie because you're just short, you could go in and get, 2 things that gain life, and then they see each other, and then they'll gain the life. You could also get something like a Hallowed Priest or whatever, if you want to go that, or get your Trellisera back. I mean, there's just a lot of little combinations of things we can do here that could be very effective. So it would all just depend on the situation and what you're looking to have happen. But I actually don't mind this card. It is a 3/3 flyer. It costs 5, so you're not going to really go crazy with it. But it is a good late game card to play and basically get 3 blockers, even if you're in just trading blows with an opponent. That's also pretty strong, right? Play this, go get 2 creatures, and possibly gain a couple points of life if you need it. That can actually really swing some combat. So though this may look kind of underwhelming, you really do get a pretty good benefit out of it, and you still get a 3/3 flyer at the end of everything. You know what I mean? So it's not nothing. This card's actually pretty solid. We'll see how it ends up at the end of the format, but it is what it is right now. Lands, we're not doing anything too impressive. Just playing 1 Cave of the Frost Dragon, 2 Cave of the Frost Dragon, 1 Hive of the Eye Tyrant, and then we're playing a bunch of Pathways, and 3 of the new Overgrown Farmland, and 2 Plains and 2 Swamps. And that's kind of it. Nothing real too surprising there land-wise, because we need so much early mana, we couldn't play too many like Snarls and tap lands, things like that. We're trying to minimize that, because so much of your deck plays below 3 mana. Right, we really don't need that much mana in the deck. Even if you don't even get to a 3rd mana, it's very possible you're going to be able to cast plenty of stuff early on. Now, we'll admit, it's very possible I'll update this deck before the set goes live, but likely won't be more than a couple cards. Most likely it'll be finding room for that second aura that we want in the list, maybe even a third. But as is, we know this deck works. We played some variations of it last season, and it actually played pretty well. Some people reported really good results in our Discord, which, by the way, if you want to join the Discord, check the links, come on by. But yeah, so I think this should be pretty popular. We get to use several new cards, and it should be a whole lot of fun. But, you know, I do think it actually holds up well against some of the hyper-aggressive decks, which you're going to see a lot of early in the season. And it's able to survive some quality removal as well. So those two things I think make this an early candidate for a deck you might want to check out if you already have some of the pieces. As always, like I said, you can check out the link and get everything else right along in the description. So go ahead and do that, check all that out, come by, say hi on our streams. Also, don't forget, if you haven't, please like, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff, support the content, and even if it's not me, whoever you are watching on YouTube, Twitch, wherever, remember to share the content of your favorite creators, because that's how you help grow their platforms. But that's all I have for you for now. We'll see you next time.